500 years ago, before the noise of machines and the glow of electric lights, the world awakened to the softer, slower rhythm of the sun, and within the protective embrace of towering stone walls, a royal city stirred to life. A city of domes and spires, of echoing courtyards and narrow winding streets where every brick carried the memory of those who had walked before. As the first golden light spilled across rooftops, iron gates creaked open and the day began. Servants crossed marble floors with lowered eyes, fountains whispered in palace gardens, and guards in polished armor stood like statues along the ramparts, their watch never truly ending. Smoke rose gently from market stalls as merchants arranged bright fabrics, fruits, and spices from lands beyond the horizon, their voices blending into a living symphony of trade and survival, while children ran through alleyways chasing laughter, unaware that history was always moving quietly above them in palace halls where kings and advisors leaned over maps marked with borders that could shift with a single command. In chambers lit by dancing candlelight, rulers spoke in low tones of alliances, betrayals, and distant threats, understanding that a crown did not protect a man from doubt. It only made the weight of every choice heavier. From high balconies, queens watched the life below, the rhythm of ordinary people who formed the true heartbeat of the kingdom. And in temples, churches, and mosques, prayers rose like invisible threads tying hope to the heavens, asking for harvests, for health, and most of all, for peace that never lasted as long as it was wished for. In workshops tucked into shadowed streets, blacksmiths shaped glowing metal into blades and armor, each strike of the hammer echoing like a prophecy, while scholars hunched over fragile pages, preserving stories of the past so the future would remember what pride and ambition could destroy. Messengers rode hard through crowded roads, dust trailing behind them, carrying sealed words that could bring celebration or sorrow in equal measure. And as days stretched on, a tension settled over the city. Subtle at first, like the air before a storm, but growing heavier with each passing sunset. War drums eventually broke the illusion of normalcy, their deep rhythm rolling through stone corridors and market squares alike, calling soldiers to formation, calling families to the painful ritual of farewell. Armor was fastened with shaking hands. Embraces lasted a heartbeat longer than usual, and brave smiles hid the ancient fear shared by all who stand on the edge of the unknown. When the gates opened again, it was not for trade but for departure, banners lifting in the wind as the army marched beyond the safety of the walls, boots striking earth in unison, carrying with them the pride of their people and the uncertainty of destiny. Beyond the city, the world felt larger and harsher. Endless roads of dust, burning sun overhead, cold nights beneath silent stars. And around small campfires, warriors spoke of home in hushed voices, of warm kitchens, of children's laughter, of the simple gift of another sunrise, clinging to memories as shields against fear. Then came the morning when the horizon filled with shapes of another army, and a stillness fell so deep it seemed even the wind refused to move. Breath turned shallow, grips tightened on sword hilts, and in the space between heartbeats, lives balanced on the edge of history.
When the clash finally erupted, it was not glory that dominated the field but chaos, steel against steel, dust clouds swallowing cries, courage and terror sharing the same breath, and the earth itself trembling under the weight of human fury. Time lost meaning in the storm of movement until, slowly, the noise faded, leaving behind a silence heavier than the battle itself. Fallen helmets half buried in soil, broken shields, survivors staring at the sky as if asking why they were still there to see it. Back in the city, smoke on the horizon told a story before any messenger arrived, and when the army returned, victory felt quieter than anyone had imagined. Gates opened not to cheers alone but to tears, to wounded steps, to arms wrapping tightly around those who had come back changed forever. Healers worked through the night under flickering lamps, food was shared with trembling hands, and prayers of gratitude mixed with grief in equal measure, because every triumph carried a price carved into memory. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the city breathed again, markets reopened, fountains sang, children laughed once more, yet something had shifted in the eyes of those who had seen the cost of ambition. Kings still ruled, councils still gathered, and life continued its endless cycle, but beneath it all ran a quiet understanding passed from one generation to the next. Walls can protect, armies can defend, and crowns can command, but it is the people, their resilience, their compassion, their refusal to let hope die, that truly keep a kingdom alive. And so, as the sun rose once more over the same towers and streets, the city stood not as a monument to power, but as proof that even in a world shaped by war and ruled by crowns, the strongest force has always been the human spirit, rising again with every dawn.